Okay, here we go. How to use Bing and Gimp along with Inkscape to supercharge your blogs, articles, YouTubes, and videos. As you can see from this little graphic that I made, I've got a background, I've got an image of a kid on a computer, and you just happen to see that within his computer he's got another image of the same thing that you see on the screen here. So I'll show you how to use Bing, Gimp, and Inkscape to create your own graphics and other types of things that you can use for your different applications. Okay, what do you need? Bing has a free AI image generator tool. I'll show you how to use that. There's free software called Gimp that I use. It's sort of like Photoshop, and Inkscape, it's sort of like Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and it's also, these are both free and they're very, very good and powerful and up to date. They have a large community behind them that is adding capabilities. And you can use this for blogs, articles, videos. I will show you how to use Bing to create images. There's a few tricks that you can do to get the kind of images that you want. And Gimp and Inkscape, what are the things that you need to do to make overlays and to make PNG graphics? Because the graphics that you get from Bing are going to be just square graphics. And sometimes they don't fit the format that you want. For example, you want a video format. Video format is widescreen. These free AI images or AI generated images you get from Bing are square. And I'll show you what you can do to make widescreen images. And as I said, you can use these for your blogs, articles, and YouTube. What are the tools that we need? As I mentioned, Bing, you can create an account on Bing, and they give you so many free tries, I think 100 each week. And you'll need to burn a number of those just to get what you want, and I'll give you an example how that happens. But one of the good things is the more that you use Bing for different things, and I like the fact that they have also a chat there that is useful sometimes for searches and things. Bing gives you, Microsoft gives you points for different things. So you can build up your points and cash those points in to create more images. And Gimp is an amazing open source. These are both open source projects, Gimp and Inkscape. Amazing capabilities, and I have just touched the surface of the capabilities of Gimp. I use it for what I need it for, and I manage to do things. Inkscape I have used a lot, and I'm pretty much adept at using Inkscape. Inkscape can't do certain things that Gimp can. That's why you'll need both of these tools. So what's the process? So the process, first, you need to think about what you're going to be producing. So you create images using Bing. And like I said, sometimes you create a lot of images before you find one that meets your concept or your idea. And then we'll do that, and you'll see some of the issues that you have in trying to create descriptions that the AI model will follow. There's lots of other programs out there, but I found Bing probably the most useful of them all. It's very simple, easy to use, and it's part of their platform, and it's just straightforward, and there's no gimmicks. They don't try to sell you anything. You don't have to pay any money. It's just a wonderful tool. So kudos to Microsoft and Bing for being a fantastic source for creativity. And then I'll show you how to use Gimp to convert to PNG, because sometimes you need to be able to remove that white background, because the images that you get from Bing Image Create, there are JPEG images. And so sometimes you need to remove the background or it's like cutting out the images to be able to paste them on top of other images. And I'll show you how to combine these in Inkscape and how to export them to either JPEG or PNG. PNG files can be quite big, so sometimes there's a lot of sites that don't want you to have very, very big files, so you have the choice between using JPEG or PNG. Then of course you can import them into other projects. I use Final Cut Pro for creating videos, and I've used these images for posts on Twitter, for posts on Tribal, Facebook. So here we go. So let's go to Bing. They have an area where they have like explore ideas, and you can click on some of these to see what people used to create their images. But here, they keep some of your creations for a period of time, so I have a number of creations that I use. Sometimes it's for posting things. Let's do something like, say, a kid on a bicycle. Okay, so a cartoon. I like to do cartoons because, well, I've done also realistic images, but I like to do cartoons because they're colorful and it gives you kind of a feeling, more of a fun, less serious feeling. A cartoon of a kid on a stingray, on a bike. To be able to cut them out, you have to say surrounded by a white background. When you say surrounded, if I can even spell that properly, when you say surrounded by a white background, typically what that does is it tries to put, like you see these boxes, that they'll somehow be centered in the middle of this frame. And that's important if you want the whole image, because many times if you don't put that, what you're going to get is you're going to get an image that is partially cut off on one side or the other. And even when you put surrounded by a white background, it doesn't always ensure that you're going to get just that. And sometimes you have to do multiple tries. So here I have 55 left. If you don't have any more, I've got a lot of points there. If you don't have any more, then what you can do is you can cash in some of your points to buy additional. I've never found that necessary because I don't use that many. I managed to get within 2 or 3 clicks something that I want. Now it takes time to load. Okay, so you can see, what do we got here? We got kids there. So I personally don't like that. So I can say in the style of Dr. Seuss. Kind of one of the reasons why I use that sometimes is because I get more creative results than with just putting a cartoon. And sometimes I flip back and forth. It depends. You never get the same thing twice. And so sometimes it'll take a number of moves and to get to get what you want. Okay, so I don't like those either, so I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to put something else there. So instead of a kid, I'm going to put a blonde boy, okay, having fun on a bicycle, on a bike. There we go. Sometimes these words make a big difference when you have, for example, fun or happy. It makes a big difference as to what you're going to get, because you can put angry, you can put sad, and the AI will pick up these features and give you pretty much what you want, right? So this is maybe a little bit too young. I want maybe somebody else a little bit older. So a teenage boy having fun riding a bike. So that's part of the process. What I do is I keep on clicking until I find something that I like, and then I try to use that. And sometimes I go back, I say, there's too many tries. Now, okay, I like this. Many times you look and you find the problems with the eyes and sometimes the feet and fingers and things. So you try to find something that's acceptable. Between this and this, I like this. Okay, so let's click on that one. Now it's going to enlarge it. We'll download. Okay, it's downloaded. Now I'm going to show you, this is a site for Gimp, and this is really a fantastic, see, I don't have actually the latest, I'll be updating a little bit later on. This is a most fantastic application for graphics, and there are really fantastic professionals that know how to use it upside down and backwards. I use it just for what I need to use it for, and I struggle sometimes, but I think it's something that you could easily learn. Now the process that I'm going to show you, you'll be able to learn it quite quickly. The other one is Inkscape, and the difference between Gimp and Inkscape, GIMP is bit graphics, so you're dealing with the image, JPEG or DMP or GIF. With Inkscape, it's vector graphics. And vector graphics are basically an area with nodes, and then you color it, and there's many things. I'll show you, there's kind of many things that you can do with that. So let's go back, and I've got GIMP already loaded, and that was something I was doing there before. So let's open that file that we just downloaded. Here's the process. That's the file, the little kid on the bicycle. Pay attention to what I do. I go to select. I select by color. That is very important. I click. So as you notice that it's going to pick everything in color. In white. Then what you have to do is you have to invert that. So that means now the selected area is actually the opposite. It's the colored area. Then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to shrink. And the reason why I want to shrink is because many times what will happen is there will be a bit of a white border around there, and it will ruin whatever it is you're pasting the image on. So let's shrink it down. And it always gives me a factor of one pixel. So I have shrunk it down. Now if you notice here, any area that's white in the center, also that will end up being transparent. So we want to get rid of that. Now we want to get rid of some things that we don't want to have there. For example, if I hold my command key, that's going to remove, this is a little mark that Microsoft puts on there. I think it's probably just to identify a serial number or something for this particular image. So now I've removed that. How you do that is you hold your command button. I'm on an Apple, so I presume it's the same thing on Windows. You hold your command button or your control button, and then you circle whatever it is. This is the rope feature. You circle whatever it is, and that will remove it from your selection. Now I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and if you look at the Shift key over here, you can see what's happening. I hold the Shift key. That's going to include. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all those transparent, those white spots that are in the middle of the image that I want to keep, and you can see them because, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, here's the shoe. Sometimes it doesn't matter because you won't be able to see it. So it looks like everything is okay here. Oh, now we got that shiny part here. So I'll try to trace around that. And I just partially trace it and then hit enter. And I got the handlebar shiny part here that I don't want to show up. There. And I do the same thing there. Right. Okay, next step. Edit and cut. Okay, now I've cut the image. What do I want to do with that image now? Now I want to paste it. So File, Create, Paste from Clipboard. There we go. We have our transparency. So that's a PNG image with a transparent background. So now I'll go File, Export As, and I'll give it a name, Boy on Bike. Hit my enter. Now, you don't need to do anything here. Normally it'll come up and it'll have all of the right boxes ticked. But there's different things that you can do here that change the resolution and everything. I just leave it like it is as a default and export. So it's exported the image. Now, I'll go, this is the image that I created for this here. So now I'll go File, New from Template. So let me quit this and I can show you that when we start what it is that we're going to do. Okay, let's save that. Okay, so let's start Inkscape. Okay, when Inkscape starts, it's going to ask you if you want to load up a previous file or you want to load up a new document. So if I hit New Document, what it's going to do, it's going to give me default document, which is set, is probably A4. Now if I want to change that, I go to File, Document Properties, and I go up here and I say I want to change it to video because I'm going to be using, let's say, this document for a video. So I pick what size I want. And it's important, if you pick too low of a resolution, you're going to get a grainy image. And anyway, for a lot of the video programs, if you have a resolution that's too high, usually it will scale it down. So let's pick HD 1080 pixels. Not pixels. Yeah, I guess pixels. Okay, so that has set it. You can close this. Now, oh, I don't think I did. No, I didn't do that. Okay. Oh, I forgot to change the orientation. Properties. Okay. Orientation is right. Okay, so that's the right. There. That's the orientation. Okay, it's very important that you get that. Okay. Now we have our, we have our canvas. And now what I want to do, just to show you, I want to import that PNG image, and I saved it in my desktop. Sometimes you got to kind of remember where you save things because when you save it, it depends on where the default location is. You might have to hunt around a little bit. So I'm going to call it in. So there's my little kid on the bike. Okay. So one of the reasons why you want to separate images because I can now make a background image. So I'm going to go back to our favorite program and I'm going to create a background image. Okay, let me close this. Okay, a cartoon of an amusement park. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of surrounded by a white background because I want it to be a full image. Okay, a cartoon of amusement park done in the Dr. Seuss style. Okay, you can kind of play around with that. That's the one that I use because it provides kind of really kind of fun, colorful images, and it'll take a little bit of time for it to render depending on the traffic and then your own network speed. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get rid of. So I want to say I'm going to add here from a distance. When you do that, what it does is it tries to give you that image but from a distance. So you have to kind of play around with your terms to get the kind of image that you want, and you have to kind of look at the image that we created, the bicycle image that we created, to see what angle it is, and I can show you how you can change and skew the image. Okay, let me get rid of Dr. Seuss. Okay, there we go, and done. Right, so what do we have here? A cartoon of a big tent fun fair amusement park. Oops, I still got the word style in there. Let's see what kind of impact that makes. Now each time you run this generator, it's going to give you a completely different image. Okay, right, so as you can see, these are looking directly. This is looking down and looking down. That will be a bit hard to use, but I'll show you how to make that so that it's better. So let's get rid of style from a distance. Okay, cartoon. Okay, side view. So I'll put side view in there. Sometimes it does make a difference where you put the terms. As you put a term and you find that it doesn't do what you want it to do, and sometimes it does. So that's the price of free. There we go. Okay. Now, is there something that I could use? Right, okay. And, all right, okay. With a blue sky. With a blue sky and funny clouds. You do that sometimes, and then sometimes you have to go back and say, no, that was a bad idea, because every time it generates something that is not. Okay, this looks a little bit nicer. Right, what can we do with that? Okay, I want a road in front. Okay, distant view from a road in front. Because I need something to put that bicycle on. Okay, so it's rendering. Okay, I'm going to use this one. I could go on more because I have that habit of just trying to pick ones that I like. Maybe nobody else likes them, but you have to go by sort of what you like. Okay, download. I love the colors in this. It's just great colors. Okay, so I download it. It's going to pop up there. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my Inkscape, File, Import. Okay, I'm going to go to my downloads. There's that image. Import. Okay. Okay. Now, over here, there's a snap, enable snapping, and here's what we're going to do with that. So we're going to go, initially, if you notice I'm covering that image, what do? I go up here and I send it behind that image. And I go over here and I pick that image. Now watch what I can do. There's some things you can just increase the length. Now I've got this little Bing thing down here, which it's okay to leave on your designs, but I prefer sometimes. Okay, now if you look carefully, you'll see that line, right? So I want just a little bit of the street. Now, if you notice that it's going the other way, I'm going to flip there. I've flipped it around to make it a little more or less in line with the road. Okay, so I go over here. Okay, what it's doing, this bicycle is snapping the edge of that. Now, at this point, I want to get rid of my snap because it's always going to try to pull things in there. So I pull up my image a little bit, okay? And that's kind of what I want. Now, because this is going to be maybe an advertisement or something like that, I'm going to put some text up here. So what are we going to say for our text? Let's say I have a new product. If my product is it's fun, right? So okay, let's say a new and totally fun drink. Okay. Go over here and I pick maybe the style that I want. If you look down there in the corner, you can see that you have different styles. I have a tendency to use American typewriter semi-bold simply because I just like the way it looks. Now, there's several different ways that you can create text that's visible. If I want to decrease the size of this because it's getting in the way, sometimes some people like to put, if I pull that image up over here, these are all giving the order. Sometimes people like to create text and they like to put the image over it a little bit so that it looks like, yeah, this was made bespoke just for this one. So let's go and shrink this down a little bit. New. Okay. Super fun. It's called a soda. Super fun soda. Increase the size. You hold certain keys. You kind of have to mess around a little bit. Now, as you can see that I want to have that a little bit more accented. So here's what I do. I get a box. I put the box over that image. I make it white. I step it 1 down, 2, so it's below that, right? I set it. Now I go over here, Object, Fill and Stroke. Okay, I go over here where the opacity, I change the opacity of that, so I want a little bit showing through, and then I take the blur and I go blur. Okay, so I blur that a little bit. So play around with it just so I can get, okay, now I got my image. Now what I want to do, I want to make it so that you can see it. So I want to make that image yellow. So I have done a copy that I'm going to do edit, paste in place. So that pastes that copy right on top. So if I were to do that, now I'll hit my Control Z, Command Z, that puts it back into place. Now I have my little, what do you call these things? Sampler. And it's going, I want to pick a bright yellow, so I pick a bright yellow. Okay. And then I can take my directional keys and click it once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Now what I can do is I can push that under temporarily. And then what I want to do is I want to make this a bit of a blur. So I blur it out. So I hit my blur button over here. And I kind of look at it and see, get it to the level that I want, right? Then I send it down 1 level. There you go. So now I've got my 3D image. Okay? And if I want to do the same thing here, let's say I want to have a shadow there. I can go up to my filters, shadows and glows, drop shadow. So the neat thing about PNG images is that if you do a drop shadow, apply, it's going to give you a drop shadow. Now I can take that and I put it on live preview. First thing what I got to do is, let me close that for a moment, edit, undo, right? Now I'm going to go back to my filters, shadows and glows, drop shadow, okay, put live preview so I can see what I got. Now that's going to change the orientation of that shadow. So I don't want that much of a shadow. Okay, and I want it to go down a little bit. There you go. Okay, the blur radius, let me decrease that a little bit. There we go. Apply. Okay. I've accidentally applied too many twice. Control Z. Control Z will undo what you've accidentally done. Okay, now let's export this. So File, Export. Okay, then you're going to go down here on the corner. Then you're going to pick. You're going to find out where this. Actually, there's one thing. If you save it first, File, Save As. I'm going to give it a name. Okay, Fun Soda. All right, and it's going to be on my desktop. Save. Okay. Now. Okay. And then let me go do something else here. So let me load. Let me go over here, and then I'll do my export. There, export. Now you see that it's already put Sun Photo in there. I mean, Fun Soda, and it's on the desktop. So I can hit export. So what is the size? Now, I'm going to export one PNG copy. So that's PNG. Again, that's going to be a really big file. And then I'm going to do a JPEG file. That's going to be quite small. Export. Okay. Export. Okay. So there we go. We got Super Fun Soda, but we're not quite finished yet. Where in the heck is the soda? So let me just do something here. Let me go and we'll make one. We could go copy one, but with this one you could just make one, a cartoon of a soda pop in a bottle surrounded by a white background. There we go. I don't want all the writing. I don't know. Is that okay? Okay. Cartoon of a soda pop in a attractive bottle. Let's get rid of cartoon and see if we get that. Sometimes if you don't put cartoon, you're going to get something that looks like, I could put vector image. Do we want something that looks real? Okay. We said orange. Okay. Okay. With purple pop. I'm a terrible speller. With purple pop. Okay. There you go. Maybe if it picks it up. Right. Okay. That looks quite good. Let's take this one here. Okay. I'll show you another technique. Download. Okay. That looks really, really good. Okay. I'm going to go back. File. Import. It's imported. Here's another technique of how to trim this image down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spline around it. So that's takes a little bit of time. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put it in certain places, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do to make it even. There is a mode where it will try to copy it based on the image itself, but it's more hassle than it is worth because you'll be laboring with it. Okay, I get up here. Close it up. Okay. Now, I activate the nodes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it to the contour. So that saved me from having to go through and do a lot of, and I double click it, put a node in there, right? And I can take and I can play with the spline to get as much as I can. So as you can see, I can move it up and down. You can see that these spline holders are moving around. And this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, let's make that a curve. And then I'll bring it down, and I'll bring this down, and I'll try to match that. Go up, get my pointer, select my pointer. I'm going to go grab the whole thing. I'm going to say Object, Clip, Set Clip. Boom. There I go. Right. There's our drink. Now, I want a label for that, right? So what am I going to do? So I'm going to take my words, and I'm going to, what did I call it? Super Fun Soda. Well, okay. Super. Let me pick a font. It is fun. I go down and pick a font. I've got my super fun font. Where do I want it to be? So I'm going to make that white. Okay. Now, as you know, that bottle is round. So what are we going to do to make that? So we're going to take and create a line from here straight across to here. Hit enter. I have my 2 nodes. And I'm going to pull that line down a little bit there to create, it's roughly, let's say, that would be how round it is, give or take. Now I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go grab, hold that one and hold the shift key, grab that one, and I'm going to path, a text, okay, put on path, boom, put on path, there you go. See that? That's quite nice. Now, I've got that black thing there. How do I get rid of that? Well, let's go down here on the corner and make it invisible. So there's several ways of doing that. I can go here with the, I can go to the stroke, right, and make that opacity 0. You see that? So now you can't see it. And I want to do something with my text. I want to make it slightly opaque. I want it slightly see-through so you can see some of the stuff underneath it, right? And I want a border around it. So let me get a border that is purplish, dark purple. So I got a border there, right? So let me go to the stroke. Okay. Right. I'm not going to get any awards for that, that's for sure. And let me increase the size of it. Okay. Then you want to group it sometimes. I'll group it just to prevent it because you'll move it sometimes and then it's going to be all in a weird place. So if I click it, you see these, I can rotate it. And I don't know, I want to put it in his hand. No. 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 There. Okay. Not that great, okay, but it's okay. So let me export that. File, export. I go down here. That's to the JPEG. Replace, and that is to the PNG. Export. And then I could go to something like my Final Cut Pro and file, new project. Okay, fun, soda, file, import media. So I go import my media, desktop. I found the next, you have to click, there, fun soda. PNG. So we got 2. So I'll import the PNG image. And then, okay, that I can easily put there as my, I'll show you something neat that you can do. Okay, so we have that image. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this image, copy it, paste it over here, file, export, okay, and I'm going to put selection, right, and then over here I'm going to click that one, go to my desktop, okay, boy, bike, soda, PNG. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one, move it off of there temporarily, and move that off temporarily. And I'm going to export my image just as a background. Export page. So there you can see a copy of that page. Okay, let me go up here. I'm going to run sort of background. Background in my desktop. Export. Save. Now, I'll go back to my Final Cut Pro. File. Import. Media. Double click that. Bike, soda, these two images, import. Okay. Go over here, drag it down. Okay, there's the warning. It says it talks about the format and blah blah blah. It's not the right format. Now let me show you some kind of neat things that you can do. I got my kid with a bike. Right. Let's drag this out a bit. Got my kid with a bike. So I pull that down and put that over. And I match it. Right. Okay, and I'm going to take it. Okay. So transform, that's going to move it. Right? And I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to shrink the size down a little bit because it's a little bit too big. So I'll shrink the size down, right? And then I set a keyframe, right? So let me go back. I set a keyframe because I'm going to change the position. So I set the keyframe there. I move here. I move the kid all the way over to here. Right? Now, when I play that, I get a little bit of motion. So, this could be your introduction. Yeah, we have a super fun soda and blah, 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 blah. And you create a really cheap animation. Not only that, you can do stuff like, I want this kid to come in, movements, drop in. Okay. So, boom, and then there you go. So there's a lot of neat things that you can do. You can create a lot of these PNG images using that. In the good old days, you'd have to pay somebody a lot of money to create content like this. Now you can create content like this and you can use it in your blogs, you can use it on your videos, you can use it, you could do many fantastic things with it. And I'm sure there's tons of creative people out there. So AI has put in the power of, if you know what you want, you know how to describe it, you will get it. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff like this. The background is that I'm building a multi-application platform with AI, and this AI is being integrated in kind of some very unusual ways, and I will go over how I'm doing it, programs that I'm using, all the different modules and stuff like that, so you'll get a benefit. You'll be able to learn some things. Time to time I'll go off script and I'll just tell you about some of the tools that I'm using, how I figure things out. So I've got a LLM model that I've loaded locally and I'm playing with that and I'm discovering different things that I can do with it. I have NLP.js and I'm doing all kinds of things. So please subscribe, support this channel, and tell other people. I want to build up the number of viewers so I can make more content and provide it. Okay? So thank you, and in the comments, if you have any questions you want to ask, how I did this, how I did that, or if you need kind of a little bit of a refresher, then I'm more than happy to, if you put your if you send us on our Twitter, we have a Twitter account. If you send us a little message on Twitter, then we can give you more clear explanation on something that maybe you need some clarification on. Okay, so thank you very much, and please subscribe. Right, bye.